Welcome to lesson 3. We're going to talk today about bow distribution. We've learned how to hold the bow and do a bit of bowing, and now we're going to think about where to play on the bow. So if you think about your bow as a semi-brief and half the bow as a minim and a quarter of the bow as a crotchet, then you can think about how notes are different note values, and that's what bow distribution is in a nutshell. If you play with dynamics though, that changes everything, because I might want to have a loud note with a short loud note that needs a lot more bow than a quarter. And you could have a very long note that's a quiet note that takes a lot less than a whole bow. So if you think about the bow in terms of separating out the quarters, even when you're doing dynamics, you can have a much better awareness of where you are on the bow. So I'd like to look now at page 27 in Viol Player Book 1, and I'm just going to demonstrate to you when you play a crescendo along 3 crotchet notes and then a diminuendo, how the bow speed changes. Now if I play it without dynamics, you see I've got my bow in the same place all the time, and if I play it with dynamics, so it's something more to learn with the bow, isn't it? Shall we have a look at that then? Shall we play this, let's play this until we get to bar 9. Here we go. So, bow on string, sitting comfortably. Here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. More bow, less bow. I'm getting louder here, so more bow. It makes a huge difference, doesn't it? And it's so rewarding when you play with dynamics. And learning to do it now, just when you've just picked up the bow, is a really good way to make you think about the bow a bit more, and not so much about the left hand and trying to learn the notes, but actually what sound you're making. Let's do this now from bar 9 on a push bow. So we've got loud here, so we're going to use lots of bow. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now the same phrase quietly with a little bow. Now a bit louder, so more bow. Now another bow in the same direction, a back bow. Ending. Let's just have a look at the 2 back bows. So when you bow this way, it's a push bow. When you bow this way, it's a back bow or a pull bow. And push and pull. And I think, if you think about this as a racket sport, where you're going this way and that way, push is strong, pull is a backhand. It can really help if you're a modern string player to just make the difference between this being up and down and this being push and pull. And if you get that now, that can really, really help. Because if you're seeing a sign that looks like an up bow, you're thinking, oh, that's that. But it's the strong that way. So here we've got 2 back bows. So what we're doing here is stopping the bow. We're not changing anything but stopping it and then starting again in the same direction. And this last note here, it's quite long, isn't it? 6 beats. And if I play this note without supporting the bow with my third finger, this is what happens. It gets into a sort of the tight part of the bow because this is close to where you're making contact here. So if we've got a long note like this, we have to then support the bow with that tip of the third finger. And this happens then. And what's happening there is that the third finger takes the weight of the bow, and as it does, so the string resonates. It continues to resonate rather than the bow going and dying on the string. And of course, if you put all the weight on a gut string, that's what it does. It goes and just dies. And the alternative to have that lovely resonance ringing, and I've taken the bow off there, but I could still have it on, but a millimetre away, and make it ring. So it's very close down here. Shall we play that all together? So, don't forget to breathe in. I find, when you first start doing things, there's so many new things, there's so many things to think about. And if you just take a breath in, take a breath out, you'll find that things sink down. Not your left hand, obviously, because you want that to be up here, but your right arm in particular, and just feeling that arm weight. We're doing lots of things now. We're doing notes, dynamics, bow, keeping the bow parallel to the bridge, going forward and back. Anyway, the list. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lift off. One thing I will say about that is that if you're on the E string and you're coming down to the C string, back to the C string, it's really easy to do that and to drop your bow downwards rather than come back. So remember that forward back thing and playing underneath the table and not going down. So this is something to watch out here, as we did in Lullaby. So what I want to do now is some viol aerobics on the top 3 strings, just to get the movement of the feeling coming round up here. So let's start on the E string, and we'll do 4 E's, 4 A's, 4 D's, and then back to A and back to E, and each time we'll do it 2 times. Okay, so this is definitely under the table and taking off when you get to the edge of your leg. It's not going this way, and there's something quite interesting about this. Because of the camber of the bridge, when you come around here, this almost feels more natural, doesn't it, than this. And yet you can see if I do that, that's not parallel at all. Okay, so viol aerobics on E, A and D then. Here we go. And 3, 4. well when you're looking down here, isn't it? You can see where your bow's going. But if you practice this with your eyes closed, it's a completely different feel. So have a go at that. I like to look now at the Brawl on page 46. And I'd like to do this first of all without the bow. So far we've learnt B in the Soldier's Call, and now we've got C to add to that. And if you look at the beginning of the second section, we've got an open D for this next this piece. So let's play this pizzicato, and if you can see the dotted line lasts until the second bar, so that means you have to hold your second finger down until you get to the second bar, like this. Okay, let's try it together. Here we go. 3, 4. See that at the end of the second bar there's a 2 and the dotted line goes all the way until the end of the first line. So that second finger stays down for 3 bars because you're coming back to it, aren't you, in the last bar of the first line. Okay, let's do the rest of it pizzicato now. So thumb on the side. Here we go. 3, 4. And keep your second finger down at the end of bar 10 when you play open D. Let's do that section again. Here we go. 3, 4. So I finished the second section with a B there, and I didn't take my B off when I played the G. I found the G because my B was still down. I didn't take it off and then put 2 on there. I kept B down on 1 and I put second down over there. And that's really useful, you know. When you learn the viol, okay, we learn it this way, but we learn it across as well. Because one finger usually tells the other finger where to go. And at this stage, it's on adjacent strings, but it's ever so useful if sometimes it's not on adjacent strings and one finger is telling the other one where to go over 4 strings. So it's a really good habit to get into. Okay, so let's do that for now. We know the first section is like the second section. I just wanted to start it. Now let's look at the bow. Let's do this without the left hand. And if you notice in bar 4, we've got a line over the first minim, and that is called a tenuto, which basically means that you make the most of your bow to make it stronger. And the next one, the next note there, I don't know if you can see it, I don't know if there is one actually, it should be a shorter note or a lighter note, say. So what we try to do is not ever play 2 notes of the same value with the same bow stroke. So that's something else actually, isn't it? So you don't play, if you've got 2 notes of the same value, you don't ever try to play them with the same bow stroke. That's something else with this piece then, isn't it? Because we've got pretty much the same note values. Hence the dynamics. But anyway, let's do it starting without the left hand and visualising where those notes are. Okay, here we go. For the open strings. So we're starting on E, the E string. Ready? Here we go. 3, 4. Okay, let's just do that again, because you're thinking quite hard here. And remember, when you're on the A and you come back back to the E. You come back, you don't come down. Back. Okay, let's try that again. Here we go. 3, 4. Great. Let's do it with the left hand now. Okay, here we go. Let's just do that first phrase. 3, 4. So, did you come back on the E? On the E string to play the G? Okay, let's try that again. This time with some dynamics. So we're going to have a faster bow speed by the time we get to the second bar, aren't we? Here we go. 3, 4. So taking time to visualise where the notes are away from the viol is quite a good idea. You can think, oh, that's F sharp, that's on the E string, D's on the C string. And the time that you do away from the viol is very productive, because when you come back to it, you've remembered it. And it's not so many things to think about. Also, think about a G here, G. That is a G here. It's not that note is here. And the next note is this one here. Try to learn the notes as you go, if you don't already know bass clef. Okay, so second section then. So we did some viol aerobics and we got down our leg here and we went straight off. We took off here, so the bow is parallel to the bridge. Okay, here we go. Let's do this with the left hand. No, let's do it without, actually. Let's do it without the left hand. I just want you to get this feeling here of having your arm away from your body, because it's a long way, isn't it? Here we go. 3, 4. Should we try that again? Eyes closed. First 2 bars. Here we go. 3, 4. It's different, isn't it? It's so completely different when you close your eyes. Okay, right. Now we've got here, we've got 2 push bows, haven't we? Consecutive push bows at the end of each section. And I mentioned earlier about taking the bow off with the tip of the 3rd finger, and that's exactly what you've got to do here. End of the first section, lift off with the 3rd finger, and then onto the top string for the next section. And as you put your bow back on, so you take your 3rd finger off and your palm goes vertical again. So let's try that. So if you think about having, with your 3rd finger is on, your palm changes shape, lift off, put the bow back on the string, and as you put it on, so your palm changes shape and the 3rd finger falls away. Let's try and do that. Really easy to make it bounce. But it's your thumb on the horsehair that's controlling that bounce, isn't it? Along with the 3rd finger supporting the hair. I bounce then. Anyway, you can practice that, and practice it not on such hard string crosses, maybe practice it on open Cs. Where your arm is a bit closer to your body, so it's a bit easier. Then maybe on open E's and come round at the tip, noting the difference in your arm, and then the top string. Okay, so now let's do the second section with the left hand. Okay, so this would be a good place to just breathe in, breathe out. And make sure that this arm is really heavy. Nice heavy arm. Here Here we go. 3, 4. Repeat. Carry on. And then we got the bow there, haven't we? Okay, so one of the things that I was taught by Alison Crumb, and she was saying that if you think about your shoulder here to your wrist, think about it as being a chain. So it's just there and it's passive. And we talked at the beginning of the first lesson about the arm weight when we were walking, didn't we? And we've done so many things in 3 lessons that it's very easy to forget about this. And of course, if your arm is a chain and it leads from here, this doesn't happen. It doesn't go from there. And modern string players out there, you're going to want to do this, aren't you? But it's not. It's heavy arm leading from the back of the hand. And that's just such a lovely feeling. I love that. That bowing from the shoulder. Anyway, I diverge a bit. Let's do this piece all the way through with dynamics, and I will play the bottom part. So, blow on string. Breathe in, breathe out. Here we go. Ready? And 3, 4. Because you're thinking about so many things that you're starting to grip with a bow, you can try this with what I call my ping bowing thing, where you ping that on there, but you can bow with your thumb and your first finger off the bow completely, and that really stops you from gripping. Hopefully, if you've got a vertical palm and you've got good contact with your second finger and nice arm weight, you won't be gripping, but if you are, this is a good way to get out of it. Let me just show you at the beginning. So if you do it with a really stiff thumb like that, that is bad, just as bad as gripping. But just, you can either wiggle them or just hold them there, just to feel that contact with the second finger on the horsehair. Anyway, that's it for this lesson, and I shall see you at the next one.